Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest in the council this evening? I see none. So we'll move into taking a motion for the approval of the council minutes held July 4th. Moved by Councillor Hammond, supported by Councillor Dunn. Discussion on that. All in favor? And carried. Is there any business arising out of those minutes? I see none. And we'll move on to, there are no public meetings, courts, or revision. I would like to take a moment to welcome our librarians who are in attendance this evening and wish you well on your future endeavors. Reports of staff and delegations. This evening we have a report regarding the application for site plan control approval, removal of H, and I assume we're going to Danielle.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, members of council. Administration has received and reviewed a site plan for the addition of a second building at the Unifab site at 477 Highway 77. This process began back in 2015 when the owner received approval to add just over 5 acres to the current site from the abutting farm to the immediate west. These lands, which are showing is currently farmed on the air photo, they are designated for business park development. The conditions of that severance have been satisfied and the deeds have been stamped. Those lands have now been added to the Unifab site. So the owner is now looking to construct a second building on the site, just over 30,000 square feet in size, and it'll also include the parking area that's required for that addition. The location of the building as well as the parking spaces comply with the zoning bylaw, and they'll be constructed in accordance with the development manual. In addition to that, the lot layout also complies with an additional layer of zoning regulations, which requires a 60-meter setback from the property boundary for Mount Carmel Blytheswood School, which is just shown to the north of the property. Administration is recommending that the development be subject to the standard site plan agreement provisions. As well, we're looking for 2 additional clauses, which will require the owner to transfer the existing private road as well as a small daylight corner at the time the municipality requires it in the future. This requirement is being dealt with as part of the secondary plan, and so that's when we'll see that come forward. At this time, the owner is working with MTO to update the traffic impact studies which were completed when those lots were originally created and the first phase of Unifab was constructed. It is recommended that the approval of the site plan be subject to any terms or conditions assigned by the MTO as well as the issuance of an MTO land use permit. Administration is also satisfied that the holding symbol, which has been applied to the zoning of the land where the proposed addition is going, can be removed at this time as the site plan is also being recommended for approval. So pending any further questions from council, it's administration's recommendation that the site plan be approved subject to MTO review and that bylaw 3816 to remove the H from the zoning be approved this evening.
Thank you very much. Questions from council? Councillor Jacobs.
Thank you, Worship. Danielle, just out of curiosity, the 60-meter setback from the lot line for the school, is that customary or is that our own bylaw?
It's my understanding, so that's in our own bylaw. It's my understanding that when this site was first developed, that was negotiated with the school board as part of the zoning. So they've required that. And then it was translated into our official plan as well as our zoning bylaw.
Okay. I think moved by Councillor Jacobs, supported by Councillor Wilkinson. Further discussion? I just think it's really great news to have more industrial growth in our municipality. This is what we're working for, so good stuff. All in favor of that motion? And carried. Next item on the agenda is a report regarding investment results and update. And Janine? Okay. Pull that closer to you so we can hear you.
Sorry. Hello, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The municipality of Leamington has both reserved and unreserved funds. These funds are held in both bank accounts and investment accounts. This report presents the results of the investment accounts only from April 1st, 2015 to May 31st, 2016, a 14-month time period. Since amalgamation, the municipality has held its investments in the One Investment Program. Until March 2015, these investments were money market funds. In mid-March 2015, 100% of the money market funds were sold, and the proceeds were used to purchase 2 different types of investments, also within the One Fund program. and they were bond portfolio and universe corporate bond portfolio. In April 2015, Resolution C-101-15 was passed by Council, and it updated the Treasurer's reporting requirements. In July 2015, some of the municipalities' universe corporate bond portfolio was sold, and it was replaced with equity portfolio, and that was also within the one investment program. If you turn to page 4 in the report, or page 19 of 23 of the agenda, we'll go to Table 1. Thank you. Okay, Table 1 shows the municipality's holdings of the investments, both as a dollar figure and as a percent of the total investments. As you can see there, the bond portion is approximately 50% of the total. The universe corporate bonds are 35%, and the equity is 15% for a total of the 100. Approximately, the municipality holds $40 million in investments. If you turn to the next page, we'll see graph 1. And I'd like to go over what all these lines mean. So the bond line is the orange line. Below that is the green line, and that is the equity line. Then below that is the purple line, which is the universe corporate bond line. And if you take all our 3 investments and add them up, that's the black line, the solid black. So that's the cumulative number. And what this is showing, this graph, is the cumulative investment income for the 14 months from April 2015 to May 2016. Okay? We have 2 other lines there, the blue dash line and the pink dash line. The blue dash line is scenario 1. If we had continued to hold 100% of the municipality's funds in the money market fund, then we would have had the investment income indicated by the blue dash line. Then if there's another scenario that I presented, which is if we had 50% of the municipality's money remaining in the money market funds, and then instead had 50% in a 2% GIC, that would be the pink dash line. Moving forward to the next page on Table 2. Table 2 shows the investment income earned for the 14 months in this report, which totals $392,000 approximately. And as you can see, there's 2 portions to that defined by LAS, which manages our investments, income earned, and then the market impact. So you cannot separate the 2. It's one and the same, but it amounts to $392,000. So administration brings this report forward to council for it to be received. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions? Councillor Wilkinson?
Thank you, Worship. Jenny, I'm just curious why you showed, though, the blue and the red line, the money market growth that would have happened. Is that your way of, by showing that, you might have done things differently? I'm just curious why that's there, why you show that to us.
Money markets are less volatile than equity portfolio investments, for example. So what I'm trying to show is that there's a lot more volatility in certain types of investments compared to others. So as part of the investment policy that the municipality has, is we want to make sure that we preserve our capital, and in doing so, and it's public money as well, so we want to make sure that we invest the money perhaps, well, we want to consider how we're investing it.
Okay. Mr. Neufeld?
Just further to that, we tried something here over the course of the last 14 months where we looked at an opportunity to increase our investment income. You can see by that chart the volatility. We actually did come out in the end. We're pleased to show that we came out better. But you can also see there were times where we were way down. And one of the things Ginny has already noted, we're dealing here with public money, and we're very conscious of that. But as administration, we also have a budget, and we need our budget to be fairly static. If we were to have ended up losing money, it affects the budget. And the budget is approved, and we want to ensure that we can carry out all of the projects that council has identified as important in keeping with our strategic plan. So while we tried this and it turned out okay, I think what administration is trying to say is we want to remain a little more conservative in the investments. There are ways of still making money, making investment, but it's without that volatility, and recognizing again that we are the keepers of public money.
Move receipt. Supported by Councillor Dunn. Further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Next report is one regarding the authorization to execute agreements of Sip and Savor Experience. Mr. Neufeld.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have the Tourism and Culture Development Officer now, as Council has indicated in the strategic plan, that we want to become more involved in tourism. The first festival, or experience, as we're calling it, as you know, is being held August 19th and 20th, called the Sip and Savor Experience. So what we're recommending is that the Tourism and Culture Development Officer be authorized to execute agreements not to exceed $2,000. You have to understand that we do have procurement policies, but those policies don't fit nicely in with the tourism strategy, the tourism portfolio. So what I'm suggesting through this report, and other reports will follow until we get a comprehensive delegation of authority bylaw, that event by event will come to council and ask for the authority for the tourism officer to be able to sign agreements not to exceed $2,000, so that we can move quickly in preparing these events and get the tourism portfolio started. And so that is simply what this is giving her the authority to sign agreements, which are a little different than the kinds of agreements we sign on a regular basis through engineering and public works, those sorts of things.
Councillor Verbicki.
We're the mayor, thanks. Through you, Peter. How many of these agreements do you think she'll be signing? 10, 20, 100?
So if I understand your question, you're concerned that at $2,000, if she signs 100 of them, then we're into a lot of money here. No, I think we're looking at maybe 5 or 10.
Councillor Jacobs. That was my question. Thank you. Okay. My only question would be, is 2,000 enough? How did you come up with that amount?
Good question. Within our current purchasing policy, managers can sign for up to $2,000 provided it is budgeted. So we're using the foundation of the policy. That's where we got the 2,000. It's just that the ability to sign the agreements is something extra.
Okay. Okay. What are council's wishes? Moved by Councillor Jacobs, supported by Councillor Verbicki. Questions? No? All in favor of the motion? Carried. Other matters for consideration. There were no matters for approval. Other matters for consideration. Motion for consideration that Leamington's tax levy due dates be established in 2 installments of August 31st, 2016 and September 30th, 2016 for supplementary assessment notices issued on or about July 7th, 2016 under Section 33 and 34 of the Assessment Act. Hey, that's not fair. Councillor Verbicki moves, support by Councillor Wilkinson. Discussion on that motion? All in favor? And carried. There's no closed session to report on, so we do move to consideration of bylaws.
Bylaw 3816 being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 89009 for the municipality of Leamington, which pertains to the subject lands ZBA 134, 477 Highway 77, and that is derives from the report earlier this evening, PLA 2616. And bylaw 4416 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from its meeting held July 11th, 2016.
Moved by Councillor Wilkinson, support by Councillor Hammond. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Carried. There were no notices of motion circulated, so we're into open session for council and admin. Councillor Hammond.
Your Worship, thank you. I actually have three things that I'd like to bring forward tonight, if I may.
Okay.
Just looking at the clock. First of all, I want to congratulate our Portuguese community on the great Euro win, the 1-0 victory over France. There was a lot of celebrations that took place on Sunday afternoon, and it was 50-some years in the making, and that was great. Secondly, and a lot more of importance, we have a number of people here tonight who are employed by our local library. I am sure, like other councillors here, have received both a number of phone calls or have been stopped in the street asking when the library doors are going to reopen. This labor dispute's now into its third week. And, you know, every time there is a labor dispute, there's always two opposing points of view. But it's been my experience that the only way you can resolve these points of view is to sit face-to-face across the negotiating table. And I encourage both sides to do just that. Let's get back to the negotiating table so we can open up those library doors again and start accessing the amenities that the library offers for young children this time of the year, seniors, students, and anyone else who is possibly out there trying to prepare a resume. And I encourage, again, both sides to go back to the negotiating table and let's get the doors of our library back open again. The third one I'd like to bring forward is I want to congratulate and thank our firefighters. They did a great job on Saturday evening on 5 Plunbrook. They lost a couple of animals, but there was no human loss, and I think the fellas, along with the help of Kingsville, and we should thank Kingsville, they did a great job there.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? Open session. Admin. Councillor Mr. Neufeld. Almost gave you a new job calling you councillor. So.
Just two things. Further to Councillor Hammond's comments regarding the fire and Kingsville, in speaking with our chief this morning, he was also extremely complimentary of our OPP, who helped pull lines, and he wanted to make sure that that we know that the OPP were right in there with the fire departments helping out. So I wanted to make sure that that was stated as well. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was that on Saturday night, the Windsor Symphony Orchestra Woodwind Quintet played at Rick Atkin Park for a little over an hour. They played out of the gazebo that was built down there. They calculated or estimated that there were somewhere around 325 to 350 people sitting in our extremely well manicured park, listening to some of the most fantastic music I've heard in that area. And people were very complimentary about our park, and of course they truly enjoyed the music. Deputy Mayor Hilda McDonald brought greetings on behalf of the mayor and council, and did a terrific job as well, tying it all together. It was just about the most perfect evening that we could have had down there. So thank you very much to the Windsor Symphony for coming down to our community and playing for our residents.
Nothing else? No? Well, yeah, mine's really quick, though. So two things. I just wanted to thank the Deputy Mayor for standing in for me again on another occasion and bringing words to get the for taking care of business anyway. And Sheila Wisdom also contacted me to tell me what a great, wonderful thing it was for us. And I said the thanks belong to you and yours more than us. But also on Saturday, July 9th, just this Saturday past, It goes unknown. I mean, the Leamington Kingsville Fire Department, speaking of earlier, also had an Ignite the Spirit golf day, which we just happened to stumble upon and got ourselves entered into, my wife and I and a couple of friends. A great turnout, and it took me until after all the prizes that everybody else won were done to find out what this was all about. And for any of us that don't really know, it's something that started over in the United States. It was a firefighter over there who started realizing that a number of their firefighters were not taken care of enough. So they started raising funds and just kind of show up at that family's home when that person's been injured or sick or destitute or whatever happens to be, and just help them out. And that's what they have started a chapter over here now. A couple of the guys had been there, saw what was going on, and have started a chapter here now. So this is their second annual golf tournament. I'd never heard of it. They do have a Facebook page up now called Ignite the Spirit, and I just wanted to kind of put that out there for people to know about for next year. So you might want to pay attention and maybe contribute in some fashion. So that's it for me. Statement of members non-debatable. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Hammond, Councillor Dunn. All in favor? Carried.